most dangerous person in your company is the one who knows everything. And if you've been leading in IT for 20 or even 30 years, there's a real chance that that person is you. I know because it was me for a very long time. In my first year as a director, my team messed up. Something went wrong and my boss asked me what happened. And I pointed at my team. They made a mistake, I said. The reality, the issue, of course, was me. I hadn't given them the right instructions, I hadn't given them the right context, and I hadn't checked in enough with them. But in that moment, I was still new in the role and I felt really insecure. My first instinct was to protect myself, and with that, deflect the blame to anywhere else, my team in this case. It took me years to see that conversation with my manager for what it really was. My ego getting in the way. Most of us get promoted because of being right, because we have all the answers, because we are that good. I know I did, and I'm sure you did too. 20 or 30 years of having all the answers builds a real career. And that exact instinct may now be working against you. When their boss already has all the answers, a team stops thinking for themselves, and people stop sharing their own ideas. Look, people confuse ego with confidence, where they're actually opposites almost. Ego protects your self-image to the outside world. It needs you to be right, it needs you to be clean, it needs you to be good, to be perfect. Confidence, it's all about the results, the outcomes. So confidence is perfectly okay with being wrong as long as you learn from it and still get towards those results. Keep that split in mind between the ego and the confidence, because all 5 things in this video come right back to that distinction. So 5 ego checks, let me take you through each of them. The first one goes right back to my own story from the beginning. When something goes wrong, take the blame. When something goes right, give the credit to your team. What should I have said to my manager that day? This mistake is mine. I didn't set my team up for success, and here's what I'm going to do about it. It won't happen again. Just that one simple sentence. There's a book that I love on this topic, Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, 2 former Navy SEALs. They talk about what ego does in a team that's not in IT, but in the middle of a war on the ground in Iraq. When the leader owns the failure, everyone on the team will also happily own their own part, and the team gets better. But when the leader blames, everybody else is also going to blame. And that team just stays weak. They don't learn, they don't grow. Your team copies how you handle being wrong. So build this simple habit. When your team messes up, reflect on where you made a mistake. Then fix the process, coach the person, and then when they are successful, give them credit for that next success. Your team sees everything you do. And doing it this way earns you a lot of loyalty that you can't get any other way. I said something similar in the delegation video earlier. Look at yourself first when someone isn't delivering, when someone isn't performing. It's the exact same skill. And there's a more difficult part even to this. Your people might become really successful. They may grow past you, they may get promoted, they may even outshine you. Are you okay with that? And be honest. If that question hurts a little, that's your ego still talking. As a leader, your ultimate goal is your team's success, not your own. To get them promoted, to get them to grow, for them to become better. Because as they do, so do you. The second one is the one that I avoided for the longest time. Go looking for difficult feedback. And I'll be honest, I don't have a great track record. For years, I avoided feedback. I didn't seek it out, didn't ask for it. And in performance reviews, I put up emotional walls to protect myself. And that is ego in its purest form, right? I could have taken the feedback on board and moved to action and to growth. I just didn't know how to do that yet. I also know exactly how receiving tough feedback feels. And I think you do too. Back in 2017, my manager gave me some very harsh, direct feedback, and I took it very personally. That evening, in my head, I was already gone. I was ready to resign overnight based on just that one conversation. I didn't sleep much. And by the next morning, I could start to see which part of his feedback were simply true. It was honest feedback. And that's what the pain to your ego does. It's not a thought through decision. It's just a simple reflex. So the rule that I now use is very simple. When you get feedback and it hurts, I just take a break. I pause and I don't respond on the same day. Because that pain is, I know it's my ego talking. And the information underneath, the information that is part of that feedback is what you really need. You can only see which part is true after the ego pain has faded away. Then go get more of it. There's 2 exercises that I use with leaders that I coach, and I promise what they turn up will really surprise you. First, go back through the last 10 or 20 years of feedback that you've received. Formal reviews, performance reviews, the mentoring notes, thank you messages, even the tough conversations, or maybe even rejections to job applications. And look for the patterns. Make 2 lists. 1, your strengths, the things that people consistently value in you and keep mentioning. On the other side, your saboteurs, the habits that keep limiting your growth. 20 years will give you a very honest story. Second, to get a current picture of where you are right now, run a very small 360 feedback. You ask 6 to 10 people around you, your peers, your team, your manager, 3 short questions. What am I doing right now that makes us succeed? What should I do differently? And what do you appreciate about how I lead? Keep it anonymous so people are going to be honest. A simple form online just works really well. And then look for the words that keep coming back, because those words are how your leadership actually shows to the outside world right now, not how you think it may be doing. Third, and this one took me the longest to see in myself, being right and getting it right are two different things. What happens in your meetings when you speak first? I know what happens in mine. I'm impatient by nature. I've always have been. I like to get to a decision and just move on. So for years, I would start with a question, a problem that we were trying to solve, and I would push my view of how I think we should proceed. And more often than not, the view got accepted and we moved on. I did ask for feedback, but never got much. It felt very efficient and even felt like leadership a bit. Looking back, my team probably had information that I never asked for, and they didn't feel comfortable sharing because I'd already shared my answer to the problem. I prefer being right over getting it right. And being right protects my image, my ego in the meeting, but getting it right protects the result, the outcome. And the result usually needs a lot more information than just what I know, of course. I've seen where this ends up if you let it go. One of my podcast guests coached a CEO who believed his job was to have all the answers. So every meeting ended exactly where he wanted it to end. And slowly, as people stopped thinking, they just waited for him to give the answers. So she had him try the opposite: name the problem and then be quiet. Don't say anything. Do you know what happened? The ideas that came back were better than his own. His conclusion afterwards: I have really smart people, I just didn't know. He also started getting home in time for dinner. The moment that you stop needing to be right, people start telling you things. They share problems with you when they're still small, and they correct you when you're wrong, which is exactly what you want, because a team that corrects you is protecting you. They're there for you. I already mentioned this earlier in the meeting video. Say what you want discussed, then go quiet. That video on meetings is earlier in the series. Go watch it and subscribe to the channel so you also catch the rest of this leadership series. Fourth, say I don't know out loud in front of people. It sounds very trivial, but it isn't. When a client asks me today what AI will look like in 2 years, I give them an honest answer. I have no idea. What I can tell you is what's there today, what's working today, and how to build a team that adapts when it changes tomorrow. Nobody has the answers right now for the future. Not them, not me, not even Sam Altman. I still get it wrong regularly. 4 months ago, my tool of choice was ChatGPT. Today, it's Claude Code with Fable and Opus 5. That's the pace of change the world is moving at. We think that by admitting we don't know, it's going to cost us authority, right? It's the opposite. Because when you're honest about what you don't know, your I do knows have a lot more value. Pretending to know is an expensive mistake. Someone usually senses it, and the moment that they do, they ignore everything else that you say. Of course, adjust to the room you're in. With your team, just say it directly. I don't know. Let's go and find out. That's how they learn it's safe not to know, not to have the answers, and safe to tell you things. With your CFO, with the board, with key stakeholders, or a vendor that's on the other side of the negotiating table, use the full version, the one that I gave the client. I don't know, and here's what I do know, and here's what I'm going to do to find out. That's not a weakness, that's an answer with a direct plan attached to it. And it's a perfectly fine answer. In both rooms, you're saying the same thing. The difference is what you add, the plan. It creates confidence in your leadership that's critical to protect. And if you sometimes wonder whether you really belong at the level you're at, you're in good company. Many of the most senior people that I know, that I've coached, that I've spoken to on my podcast and in coaching, have that same doubt. Decades of success, very successful leaders that are still wondering when everyone's going to find out that they don't really belong at that level. Hiding that doubt is ego too, the same image protection that you just pointed at yourself. And the confident ones aren't the people without doubt. They're the ones who are okay to say everything like this out loud to someone they trust, a peer, a coach, or someone outside the company. What you say out loud, you can deal with. What you protect, just stay stuck. Finally, number 5, the ego check that you make before making a big decision. Before you commit, try to prove yourself wrong. Here's 2 questions that I tend to use. The first is simple. Is it my ego that wants this? A big showcase project, something really visible, an acquisition or a rebuild? You know the ones that I mean, this project, the shiny objects one. Some decisions flatter the person making them, and you should be honest with yourself about whether the company really needs this decision, this new change, or if that's just something you want to do. And if you can't tell the difference, ask somebody who'll give you direct feedback on that. The second question is a bit harder. What would break this? Because most of us do the opposite. We've already decided, and then we build a case that proves that we're right. Sound familiar? Turn it around. Spend real effort trying to break your own idea. Ask where it's going to fail, what's going to go wrong, and what should be true for this to be a big mistake. If you try hard to break it, but you can't, decide with real confidence. And if you haven't tried to break it yet, you haven't thought about it enough. Finally, know which decisions deserve this treatment. If a decision is simple, it's easy to reverse, just decide fast and try it. Learn, adjust if it goes wrong. For anything you can easily undo, being wrong is the fastest way to learn. And first time right just slows you down with these easy decisions. But when a decision is hard to reverse, a new platform choice, a reorganization, a 5-year vendor contract, that's where you need to slow down. Try to break your own idea first. What is going to go wrong? What is going to break? And why? Be honest about which of the two it really is. And if your decision touches a core IT system the business runs on, no change is ever easy to reverse, even when rolling it back looks simple. And if your decision touches a core IT system that the business runs on, no change is ever easy to reverse, even when rolling it back looks simple. I need to start personally because I have a strong bias towards action. It has served me really well, but in strategic decisions, it has also cost me. So I've learned to slow myself down when I need to make decisions and go look for ways that I might actually be wrong and rethink my decisions. So, 5 ego checks. Take the blame and give the credit to the team. Go get the feedback that you may have been avoiding. Choose getting it right over being right. Say, I don't know, out loud in a way that really is suitable to the room, your team, or CEO, board, stakeholders. And try to prove yourself wrong before the decisions that you can't easily reverse. It all comes back to the one split. Ego protects your image, your self-image. It needs to be right. It needs outside confirmation. Confidence protects the results, the outcome. It can listen, it can ask, it can admit, and it can be perfectly okay with being wrong. Now imagine what that means 12 months from now. Your team brings you problems while they're still small. People tell you the truth because they've seen what you do with it. And your decisions get better because they run on real information instead of just your self-image. And the people around you, they describe you as genuinely confident. And that's what checking your ego gets you. Not less authority, but in the end, a lot more. So this week, do just one thing. The next time that someone asks you something that you don't know, just give an honest answer. To your team, just a simple, I don't know. Let's find out. Upwards to management, to boards, stakeholders, I don't know, and here's what I'll do to find out. Then watch and see what that does to the conversation. That's it. This is one video in a series that I'm making on the shift from being the person who does the work or an operational leader to strategic leadership. If that's a change that you're working on, subscribe to the series and follow along for the rest.